Oh, this is so perfect. I have an iPhone. I have an iPhone 13, I think it is. It's my first iPhone. I love it. My son is like, "Hey, Dad, so when are you gonna get an iPhone 14? iPhone 15?" I think we're on 16 now. I'm like, I love the 13. Okay. But I do want to upgrade because my phone is not quite working great. I use my phone for business and all kind of things, right? So I want to upgrade, right? This is the perfect time for me to upgrade. Why? Because of the tariffs. Okay. So I'm telling my wife today, I'm like, trying to get a new phone before the tariffs kick in. So, hey, look, I support what Trump is doing. The reason why is what I told my wife today. So me and my wife had a conversation about this because she was like, I don't really understand tariffs, right? So I broke it down to her. I'm driving her to work today, and so I was like, okay, so I'm going to teach you about tariffs. What's the best way for me to teach you about tariffs? I'm trying to figure out what's the best way. I broke it down so good. I wish I would have had recorded it. So here I am right now to record it for you. This would probably be the best breakdown of tariffs that you have ever heard if you do not understand how tariffs actually work. All right, you ready? Okay. I'm not an economist, but I play one on social media. Okay. So look. So this is the way that I explained it to her. I said, okay, using Apple as an example is not really a great example. I told her I said it is a good example, but it's not the best example to show you how tariffs work. Okay, so I said, say you have a company in America, and you have a company that's in China. They make the same exact product. Okay, let's just pretend that they make the same exact product. Same quality, same style, same look, and everything's the same. Okay, as far as that go, except for the price. Now, the price is the big thing that we want to focus on here. Okay, we experience tariffs every single day in our life, but we have no idea what's going on in the background. And that's the problem, is that the American consumer is so caught up in their iPhone, and my wife's an Android person. We're so caught up in our iPhone and our Android and our PlayStations and our Xboxes and what else, our, TVs and our luxuries and our clothing, that we don't really understand exactly how the economy works. Okay? This is how it works. You have a company that is, now let me explain one quick thing first. The reason why I said that Apple is a good company to explain how this works, but they're not the best one, because Apple is an American company that is based in China. And we can use any country for this particular lesson, but America and China are the best because we're the two biggest economies, and that's really why Trump is doing this for, is because of China. China is eating our lunch. So that's the setup right there. Okay, so let's really go and get into it. Okay, so now you have a company, and I just threw away the Apple stuff. Okay, I just said that you have a company that make widgets. Forever, when we learned about business, they always say that this company makes widgets, right? Okay, so that you have a company that makes widgets. Okay, so this company makes widgets in America. Let's call them Company A, makes widgets in America. Company C makes widgets in China. That's perfect, huh? That's really easy. Company A sends its widgets to China to sell to China. Okay, this is the problem that Company A is going to run into. The quality of life in America is so high that the employee that works at Company A is making let's just say that employee. Okay, let's go back to 1996. Now, there's a reason why I'm saying that for. But, and I'm going to explain to that in a second. So let's say that back in 1996, the company A, their employee is making $11 an hour at the factory. No, let's say that they're making $15 an hour. Let's just say $20 an hour at the factory, because these are good jobs usually, okay? So even back then, that person could have been making $15 to $20 an hour. So let's just say $20 an hour, okay? Okay, so the company A has to pay their American worker $20 an hour. Why? Because of the standard of living in America is so high, okay? So then they also have to get that person insurance, some health insurance, some dental insurance, some time off, right? So company A is, so now they make this widget, right? The widget, let's say that the widget cost them $30 to make, and they're going to sell the widget for $40 so they can make a $10 profit off of each widget, okay? So their product is priced at $40 for them to make a profit, okay? To make it worth their while to make this product, they have to price it at $40, okay? They can price it lower, but you're really cutting the margins, and you could make a loss if you do that, okay? If you know anything about business, right? Okay. The same type of company in China has a very much so lower standard of living. So they can build a factory. A company in China, or the government of China, can build a factory in China and pay their employee to make the same widget, same quality, same style. Well, maybe not the same quality, but you get the point. Let's just pretend that everything is the same quality, right? Same quality, same style, everything's the same except for the price. Their standard of living is so low in the rest of the world, mostly, right? Especially in a place like China in 1996. Even today, it's still the same thing. It's still a big difference. You see what I'm saying? Okay. But in 1996, when this really became a big thing, and again, I haven't gotten there yet, Company C in China, they can pay their employee $2 a day. Let's just say that they're paying their employee $2 a day. Do you hear me, my friends? A day. The worker in America in Company A is being paid $20 an hour. So how much lower can the company in China, Company C, make that same widget in comparison to the American worker, the American company, right? They can sell that same widget. Company A in America is selling that widget for $40 a piece. Company C in China can sell that widget for $25. No, even lower. They can sell that same widget for, let's just say, for $20. Okay. But they're going to sell it for $30 so that they can be just low enough where they're making a lot of money, but at the same time, they're undercutting the American product. And if they need to lower it down to 25 or 26 or 27, they'll do that. Okay? Because they're pocketing all of this money. All right? So that's the basics of the problem, but this is the other part of the problem, is that there's much more that goes into that. And we're going to briefly go over that as well. Okay. So why did I pick 1996 for? In 1996, Nancy Pelosi is on the House floor, and she's like, China's tariffs on American products is 6%. Our tariffs on Chinese products is 2%. Okay. So this is a job killer. This is going to kill our American jobs. This is in 1996. Okay. So I believe the same year Bill Clinton allows China in the WTO, which is the World Trade Organization, allowing China a lot of benefits to be able to sell their products throughout the world. Okay, so this is what we have been doing. We have been allowing our Democratic and Republican presidents have been allowing China to cheat us, to cheat our businesses and our workers. Because what happens to Company A when Company A cannot compete with the prices of the Chinese products that are allowed into our market with very little trade barriers up until Trump? Okay, what happens to Company A is that they go out of business because Americans, when China sends their product, when Company C sends that product to America, that widget that's priced at $25 a piece versus the American product that's priced at $40 a piece, all right? Which one are you going to buy when you see it in Walmart? You don't know that one is made in America and that one is made in China. You see the price. So you're going to buy the one that's cheaper. If you even get to see the American product. Why? Because Walmart wants to sell more products to you. So they probably won't even show you, they probably won't even source the American product, my friends. And the business owner knows this, so they're not even going to pitch it to Walmart, chances are. Do you see what I'm saying? So this is what happened to America over the course of some years. And guess what? That's only a part of the problem. When the American business, Company A, says, oh, you know what? Okay, it's hard for me to sell products in America. Let me ship some over to China or to India or to whatever country, right? They're running into the same problems, but it's really bad in China. That's why Trump is singling out China. But more so, China is an authoritarian communist government that wants to take over the world, and they want to knock us off. Literally, they want to knock us off. Okay, they have the biggest military buildup ever. We're not gonna go into that right now. I talk about that all the time. Go ahead and give me a sub, give me a like, give me a share, give me some comments, because I'm going to break it down for you, all right? Things that you have never heard before, and you never heard it like this. Hallelujah, glory be to God. Thank you, Jesus. But the thing is that when Company A goes to send their widgets to China, China has a barrier, a great wall. The Great Wall of China. So America barrier for Company C to send their products to America is really low. Yeah, you can send your products over here and sell it to our market. Yeah, sure. We would love those cheaper products. But when America, when Company A sends its products over to China to sell to their company, the trade barriers are this high. So that means, let's just say that their trade barriers is at 15%. That means you have to sell your product at a higher price because you got a trade barrier to get in. But that's not all. They also are stealing our companies and intellectual property, or IP. So that means if you have anything that is proprietary for your company, anything that you do that is special, unique, and you would normally want to guard that from anybody knowing, it's kind of like your secret sauce. What's in the Big Mac sauce? Nobody knows, I guess. I'm just giving you an example, right? So you don't want no one to know what's in the Big Mac sauce, because that means that they can copy your Big Mac sauce and make a Big Mac and then sell the same thing that you made, but that's special to you, right? You work hard for that. That's a family recipe or whatever it is, right? China's like, nope, we want your IP. If you want to sell in China, we're going to take your intellectual property. Okay, so they're stealing our technology, they're stealing our intellectual property, So when they come over here, we respect them and we let them into our markets. So it's actual free trade. When we send our products over there, what they do is that they take advantage of us really, really bad. We get violated. You know what I'm saying? So that's the problem that we've been crying about for years. And Trump is the first president to ever do something about it. And so now they, right? Other countries are willing to come to the table because they know that they've been taking advantage of us. China won't do it. Why? Because this is at the heart of their agenda to take over the world. So this is what happens to Company A. Company A has to close up shop because not just do we have a higher standard of living, so we have to pay our employees more. Also, we had a higher tax bracket than anybody in the world because the Democrats wanted to tax the rich, right? Tax the rich. Well, guess what? It's the rich people who own the factory, who own the businesses that I'm sitting in a parking lot full of businesses now. They own the grocery store, right? Et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. Okay. So if you're going to tax the rich person who owns the factory or the corporate business, that the successful business that they have with the widget that's selling the widgets, guess what happens? That's a part of their bottom line. The government is taking a part of their bottom line that they need to compete with the Chinese company and the European and the German company and the company that's in India, etc. Okay. So for so long, we had these high taxes, and so the factories moved to Mexico, where they didn't have all the regulations. That's another part of it. The high taxes. And they have a lower standard of living, so the workers are going to work for less. Okay? So how can American factories compete in a world like that? We can't. So we became an economy that began to be a service economy where we would, we'll serve you. Spas and hotels and restaurants. And we become a consumer economy where we'll buy all your stuff, but we're not going to make anything. The problem with that is that if you don't have factories, you're not going to have places to innovate and have new technologies. And also, you're not going to be able to make the things that you actually need. So when the pandemic happened, we were getting a lot of things from other countries. Why? Because we didn't have the ability to make it in the United States because we don't have factories anymore like we used to. So what happened in the towns, in the places where there used to be factories, now there's fentanyl. We traded the factories for fentanyl. Isn't that something? For drug addiction. Why? Because these people had no purpose anymore. Okay? They were working in factories, but then the factory towns became ghost towns. And because of that, what happened is that it's just a cycle of denigration. You know, I think that's a good word to use. As human beings, we need something to do, or we're gonna disintegrate. And guess who was sending the fentanyl over here? You got it. It was China. China was sending fentanyl over to our towns that lost the factories because of China. Isn't that something? They say that America's middle class is disappearing. Why is that? It's because of those middle class jobs that left America. And people like Barack Obama was like, when Trump said in 2016 when he was running for office, yeah, I'm going to bring those factory jobs back. And that's why Trump won for it, right? In 2016. because he understands that person in the rural cities and in the heartland and all across America that works in a factory, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera, right? That hard-working blue-collar person. They know that they were being ripped off by China and by Mexico and places all over the world, right? Because the tariff barriers were so high and ours is so low because we're going to play nice with everybody. We're just going to play nice with everybody, right? And we're getting ripped off. So why did the Democrats run Biden in 2020? Because he's the union guy. Perfect pick for them. Let's run Biden in 2020 so that he can get those voters that Hillary Clinton couldn't get, that Trump got, that allowed him to win in 2016. The problem was that Biden was not going to stand up to China. Trump was. And you saw what happened to our economy in 2020. Okay? From 2020 to 2024. Okay? So you put all of these things together and you see why Trump says we have to raise our tariffs so that we can compete in the world and we can bring the factories that, like Apple. Now let's talk about Apple now. Apple is in China. Why? For the cheap labor. They can make their iPhones and their iPads and everything else so much cheaper. And then they can sell it to America and make a bigger profit off of the product, okay? And so, and plus, I learned that there are certain components that they can only get from China, I guess. So, yeah, yeah. So the thing is that of course Apple is not the only company that's doing that. I know you heard back in the 1990s and the early 2000s, everything made in China, made in China, made in China, made in China, right? And made in Vietnam and made in, made overseas. We've been hearing that for a long time. The reason why is because of what I just explained to you, is because our factories cannot compete with the labor that is over in China. Slave labor sometimes. Slave labor. Our regulations are too high over here for that same company A in America to compete with the factories that are in China, where their regulations are a lot smaller. Okay. So that's why Republicans are like, we got to lower our tax rates so that we can help the businesses out and help the workers out. Okay? If you don't have a business, guess what? You don't have any jobs. So help the business owner out and it will flow down to the employees. Okay? So Trump comes in 2016 and 2020, and he's doing the exact same thing, but on different levels. Trump comes in both times and he says, we're going to lower the taxes from Obama's rate to I think it was the corporate rate was 39%, I'm pretty sure. He lowered Obama's 39% corporate rate to 25%, I'm pretty sure. That's a big difference. That's going to help that factory compete in that business in America that's a factory or whatever it is, right? Now you can ship that product over to China with all of their trade barriers, and it will help you to be able to get into their markets and actually be able to compete with whatever China has over there. And you're going to make a bigger profit, okay? So what happens at the end of the day is that the Chinese business people are raking in the dough, and the American business people aren't making as much money in China as the Chinese people are making in America. So after a while, year after year after year, that really adds up. So the last year, China's trade surplus, I think I heard, I'm hearing over and over again from Trump and other people, was like $350 billion. Our, yeah, their surplus was like $350 billion. So they made $350 billion more dollars than we did between between the two countries. Now, either you think that China is just that much better than us at selling products, or it's some unfair trade practices going on that we need to straighten out. Okay? And so that's what's going on right now. And as Trump said, China is using that surplus to build their military to attack us. Now, he didn't go that far, but he put it right there in front of you so that you can understand exactly what's going on. Okay? Because Trump is playing a little game with Putin and Z. I did a video about that also. He's playing nicey, but he got his bet in the... He's playing nicey with his left hand. Hey guys, you guys are so great and wonderful. And he has his baseball bat in the right hand, getting his baseball bat ready. Because he understands exactly what's going on, my friends. He understands exactly what's going on, my friends. And so Americans have to wake up. This is not easy. This is very tough. And Trump has been talking about this since the late 80s. Okay. Democrats used to agree with Trump, but now they're switched. Okay. So, this is the problem that we face as Americans. Would you like a president that stands up for your businesses, stands up for our workers? Or would you like a president that just allows things to go on and continue as they have for years and upon years and upon years? And guess what? You need the factories to build tanks and bullets and missiles. Guess who doesn't have the factories? Russia has the factories. China has the factories. Russia's using those factories right now to build artillery and drones and to crush Ukraine. China has the factories. So in wartime, they're going to stop making widgets and start making tanks and bullets and missiles to attack America. Guess who doesn't have factories? Enough factories. America doesn't. So we're going to have to, hey, guess who makes parts of our technology and pieces to our military stuff? China. So you think if we go to war with China that they'll keep making those for us? Do you think so? No, I don't think so. Is it wise to offshore your ability to create military weapons or your pharmaceuticals? Is that wise? No. Well, we're doing it right now. Even under the Trump administration, we just outshored part of our shipbuilding ability to a South Korean company. So hopefully we can get those ships made before we go to war. Right? It's going to take a while to make those ships. So we better hope that we got about at least 4 or 5 years before we go to war, and maybe we can get some more ships made. Because right now we don't have the ability to make ships. So the media is not going to break things down for you. Especially the liberal media is not going to break things down for you. That's why it's important for us to consume all types of media. I consume all types of media. I listen to both sides of the arguments, and then I make an honest assertion of exactly what's going on, you know. And so, yeah, my friends, this is what's going on. I mean, like, I could go into it a lot more, but I think I pretty much hit everything, you know. Yeah, those are the big things about tariffs, you know. So all Trump is doing, that's why they call them reciprocal tariffs. If your country has a tariff on us for 15%, well, we're going to put your tariff on you for 15% as well. What is unfair about that, right? Now, actually, they were saying, well, Trump's tariffs weren't actually reciprocal. So what? Who cares? It's the spirit of everything, right? We want a president that's going to stand up for our businesses, stand up for our workers, stand up for our nation. We cannot continue on like we're doing right now because we have a $36 trillion debt and growing. Does anybody know this? So we're giving the world charity. We're giving our enemies charity. No, come on, people. That's not going to work. So that factory A, guess what's going to happen when they make money? That's more tax revenue for the federal government, for the local government, and also from the employees. And those employees can save up money and start their own business, send their kids to college, etc. But your money is in China right now, in their factories, in their businesses, and in their military that's getting ready to attack America when they get a chance. They're getting ready to attack Taiwan, which is going to wreck the whole world economy, going to wreck our national defense. Yeah. Learn about how important Taiwan is. Taiwan is a very strategic place for many reasons. And and our inability we made China a juggernaut. And now that juggernaut is coming to knock your head off. How do you like that? No one ever told you that. No one ever put it to you like that. I just did. How do you hurt your own people with fentanyl? Oh, let's go there. Allowing open borders. China sends the fentanyl to Mexico to the cartels. The cartels bring it in through the open borders that Biden had, right? And it goes right into the places where the factories that we used to have that used to be successful, where those factories were. And now they're ghost towns, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. That's how the fentanyl thing started years ago. The first it was meth, right? Now is, meth and fentanyl and all this other kind of stuff that's mixed with it, right? So that's how that happened, my friends. You can't make this stuff up. And our politicians allowed it to happen year after year after year. And guess what? Vice President Vance, his mother was addicted to that stuff. And she could have died, he said, if they had the fentanyl. Thank God that they didn't have the fentanyl laced with the other stuff, because he said she probably wouldn't have made it. So Vice President Vance and Donald Trump, they care about this issue. That's why they put tariffs on Mexico and Canada, to make sure that the border was secure. So those factories can now, these companies and those factories can now come back to America because they went offshore, making China rich, making the communists in China rich, because it's the people up top mostly. Yeah, it trickles down to the people on the bottom too. China has become a lot more wealthier nation, but your money that we're not taking in from tariffs on China, that we're not taking in from our own businesses, because we're allowing China to rip us off, as Trump is saying, your money is going to make drones and Navy ships and artillery and nuclear bombs to take us out, your children, your grandchildren. Nobody ever put it to you like that, because China is coming after us. That money that China is making is going to Russia so that they can take out people in Ukraine, innocent men, women, and children in Ukraine, to attack Israel, because Iran is their ally. Come on, to prop up North Korea, and so that they can abuse their people and, you know, attack South Korea and Japan and things of that nature. So when you really think about it, do you want that money in America? And do you want Apple to relocate to America, which might not ever happen, but how about let's try? But let's not even talk about Apple. Okay? Do you want the companies that left America because they could not compete? Because if you watch Shark Tank, they'll ask the inventor, the business owner, yeah, so how much does it cost you to make your product? Oh yeah, Mr. Wonderful, Damon John, yeah, Mark Cuban, or whoever they're talking to, Lori, you know, yeah, it cost me $10 to make that product. And then the next question is, well, how much do you sell it for? Oh, I sell it for $15. Okay, I tell you what, I have a factory in China that can make that product for you for $5, and we can sell it for $20. Okay, or we have to get the price down because your competitors are going to sell that same product for $10. So we can get that price down to $4 and we can sell it for $9. Do you see what I'm saying? That factory is not in America. That factory is in China or in a whole nother country, right? So Mr. Wonderful was just on CNN before I came on here, and then inspired me to go ahead and do this video, because that happened earlier today when I was telling my wife about how all this works, right? So he said, I have a business in China, and if I could, I would raise tariffs on China to 400%, because Trump just raised it to like 144% or something like that. You know what I'm saying? Mr. Wonderful is like, tariffs on China are not high enough. Right? So the question to you is, who do you want to make rich? Americans or Chinese? Plain and simple. Do you want Chinese people to be rich? Indians to be rich? Germans to be rich? Or do you want Americans to be rich? See, you thought that Trump was playing when he said America first. I'm going to put America first. You got a businessman with some... Didn't the price of eggs go up? Okay, you know what I'm talking about. You got a businessman who got some huevos, as they say, right? And look, I'm going to stand up for my people. I'm going to stand up for what's right. This is a bunch of bull that's been going on. And he came in 2016, confronting China. He's back in 2024, 2025 now. And he is confronting China again, confronting the whole world. This is not going to happen. Not on my watch. Because we got to get on our grind, because they're coming for us. I'm just translating for you exactly what's going on. But yeah, my friends, so that's, I feel like I'm forgetting something, but I actually have a blog that I wrote out maybe about a week ago that I'm going to go ahead and write that blog up, and I'll put it under this video as well when I actually get it finished and everything like that. But I go through all of this basically. And so yeah, so how can that factory in America compete with the factory in China? So that's the first thing, the first reason why Trump is doing this. The second reason, let's get the factories that left America and the businesses that left America that went over to China because it's cheaper to operate there, get those companies to come back to America and reinvest and invest in America instead of China. Let's get those tax dollars back over here to America, where we can go ahead and make sure that America is strong. And you don't want China to be the top dog in the world, because they're quickly becoming the top dog in the whole world. And America is in decline. Trump is trying to make America great again. You don't want America to be number 2 and China to be number 1. That's what's going on right now. And people don't realize it. They're too caught up in politics. They're too caught up in whatever they're involved with to actually pay attention to actually what's going on in the world. And that's my job. And yeah, well, I just broke everything down for you, my friends. So I hope you understand. I hope that makes it easier for you. I didn't mean to take 40 minutes. I'll do another video where I'm more precise with it, but I hope that was enjoyable. Be blessed.